Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to make a very, very simple album inspired by Lyric Lover 810, and I'm going to show you some presents my friend Kelly sent me. I hope you'll stay tuned. So the first thing I wanted to show you was the cards that Kelly made me. She sent me this one, and look how she did little mock. She used a foam pad and her pokey tool and poked little dots all the way around it, so it looked like each one of these had some not distressing holes poked in it, for lack of a better term. I really like that she did it on the stem as well. Then she did this card, and this one is truly amazing. And Kelly, I'm going to be stealing this idea. She used a piece of cork in there. Isn't that cool? I love it. I'm going to have to play with that idea. Then, of course, she decorated her envelope, and I'm sorry that I ripped it, but it's really cute with a little acorn branch on it. Inside my box of goodies, she sent a bunch of papers from Trick or Treat or Halloween-y themed. Love those. And I'll just bring the whole box of goodies, well, everything that was in it over. Then she got these envelopes and cards. These are called, what are they called? It had a name. I swore, oh, a latch. See this little latch on here? So the card is like this and has a little piece to write on the inside. I thought that was really fun, and I thought what we would do is we would make some ourselves. We'll use these as our template, and then we'll make our own. So that's my first thing that I'm going to be doing in the future. Then she sent me this little teddy bear that has hearts in the ears and on the chest. So cute. It's a little die. And I love Stampin' stamps. I think they're awesome, and this great big flower is so nice. And with this swirl, love it. So excited about that. Then she sent me a bunch, and I mean a bunch, of these little baggies. She has Halloween and birthday, just you name it, there's a bunch of them. I didn't want to get all of them out because there's a lot and they reflect really badly off the lights, and I'm sorry for that, but it happens. This one is a memory kit. It's accessories for Trick or Treat. I haven't ripped it open, but I'm going to. We might use some of that on our album today. Then from the Rusty Pickle, these are little monogrammed tags. And then chipboard holiday. I love these kinds of things to put on cards or put on albums. Really nice. She gave me a bunch of different kinds of buttons. Some floral, some round. I like buttons. I'm a fan of the button. Then from Hampton Arts, this set of Christmas trees with matching dies. I like simple cards. That'll be fun to use. Then these are kind of thicker stickers. I mean, I'm not sure what, chipboard? I don't know what that's called that they're made of, but I like them. They're from Indie, Chic Indie. Then there's a Doris embossing folder, and let's see if I can put this inside. Maybe you can see the pattern. It's swirls and branches and fall leaves. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'm sorry if you can't. Maybe if I tilt it like that you can. I don't know, but I'm going to use that for something soon too. More buttons, and then this is from Basic Gray. It's called Scarlet's Letter. It's a paper pad. And then a bunch more in the Christmas collection. Just ignore that dog. You know she's going to bark no matter what. And I'm not sure if I missed anything. If I did, I'm really sorry, Kelly, but thank you, thank you, thank you. That was so sweet of you. I'm thrilled, and I'll be playing with a lot of these things in the upcoming days and weeks. Today we're going to be making an album, and in order to make this album, you only need 4 pieces of 12 by 12 cardstock. And I have 5 here because I learned the hard way when trimming paper that if you trim it at all off, if you miss the 12 by 12 by even the slightest little bit, you will be sorry about that. So I'm going to trim mine and make really sure that mine are cut accurately. You have to trim this little piece off the end. If you didn't know that, I kind of thought you did, but if you didn't, and make sure, I'm going to put it over here, hopefully you can see that. Make sure that when you cut that off, that you put that right at the 12-inch mark. You really don't want to be off at all on this, because when you're making this album, you really need to make sure your papers are correctly sized. So let me cut the other 3 and I'll be right back. Now the next thing we want to do is you want to turn your paper over. Now my paper has a raised little bumpy pattern, I don't know if you can see that, on one side, and you can just see the bumps on the other side, but they're not raised. So I'm going to use the back side as where I'm going to be scoring. You're going to score in 2 places. You're going to score in the middle. Now I had a little trouble with mine, and I had to cut mine down because they were not exactly straight. So when I would normally cut them at 6, I'm going to cut mine at 1 notch before the 6, and then I'm going to see if once I fold them, if they're straight and if they're exactly the way they should be. Then I'm going to make sure that each one of them is exactly sorry, I'm distracted while I'm doing this. I'm going to make sure each one is folded so that it's flush, so that I don't have anything hanging off. And if there is, then we're going to have to cut them again. I was surprised. I bought these papers at Joanns, and they're not all exactly right, as far as they're not exactly 12 inches by 12 inches. Some were 11 and 15/16. Some were, anyway, they were just not all the same width. So I tried to cut them all so that they were the same width, and we'll know in the end if that works or not. But what we're going to do with them is we're going to fold them in half like this. And before I make my next score, I'm going to have to straighten these out, because I don't know if you can see this, but it's not straight at the bottom, and it's not straight on this side. So I'm going to have to trim these up. So I want to do all of my scoring first on my 4. You should not have this problem if your paper is straight, but my paper for some reason wasn't straight. So I'm going to try and trim mine up and make it all exactly the way I want it, because if it's not the way you want it, like, see, look at this, now I'm really screwed up on this one. I just want to adjust it so that we've got the right system here, because right now it's just not playing my game, if you know what I mean, and I'm not happy with it. So I'm gonna just make sure that I score all of these, just 4, as I said. That's all you need. And then once I've got them cut and folded, what I'm going to do is trim out anything that's wonky, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of wonkiness. But if they don't do this now, my album isn't going to work, and that's the thing that's problematic, is if you don't have your album straight. You know what I'm saying? If all the pieces aren't exactly the same size, you have an issue. So let me cut mine so that they're all exactly the same size, and then I'll come back. Our next step is we're going to, here's our 6-inch line that we scored. Now we're going to score on the 3-inch mark all the way across. So you're going to have a score going this way at 6 inches and a score this way at 3 inches. So it should look like an upside down T or an upside down cross when you're done with them. And you want to score all 4 exactly the same way. Now when you fold, you should fold so that you're folding onto your raised part. You're not folding onto the part that is divoted, I'll call it. You know, like, see, this is raised. That's how you want to fold, and so it should look like this when you're done. And then you want to take your bone folder or a ruler or a bottle of glue and just go over those score lines to make sure they're nice and folded down. I don't know what that little mark is on that piece of paper. It's bugging me, I gotta be honest. Then you're going to take a corner rounder. Mine is I'm just going to spell it, because if I say it, I will make a hatchet job. It's Kadomaru Pro. It's from Amazon and it was under $10. I love it because it's got a small, medium, and large corner rounder. And so you have choices, and I like that, and it's also easy for me to use. And what I mean by that is if I can't use my hand on it, I can do this. And when you hear that really clicky sound, that means you got it in right. And I'll show you the difference. Let's say you didn't get in right. Hear that? That's not the right sound. You want to hear a really loud pop sound, and then you know you got a good rounded corner. And I'm doing mine on the largest rounding. And it's kind of tight to get in. If you can't get it to cut, like that time I struggled with cutting it, you can take your scissors and follow the little mark that your corner rounder left behind, and just do that with it. That's if you can't get to cut. But I wanted all my corners to be rounded, and that's why I'm doing that. So let me fold. Again, you're going to fold. See that divot there? You want to fold onto the raised part. I'm going to just keep saying it so that we all are sure we're doing it right. And then this one, I'm going to close like that. And then I'm going to round all my corners. So let me finish all four, and I'll be right back. Lyric Lover glued the left side with a glue stick, and she glued the right side with wet glue. And I think the reason she did that was she wanted to make sure she didn't have too much wet glue so that her paper would get warped and weird. So I'm following her directive, and we're just going to put wet glue up to the edges. I just want to make sure that we have enough glue that these really stay well adhered, because mine have a little bit of texture on them, and if you have texture on your paper, you're going to have issues getting them to glue down to each other really, really easily. So you want to make sure your openings are on the same side and that you line up all four edges so that it's perfectly even with the one beside it, and then you want to really rub it. This is kind of the most important part of your project because you want to make sure that it stays glued together. Okay, then I'm going to do my last one. Again, putting the Elmer's glue stick on my left side, and on your right side, wet glue. Now, if you have papers, like let's say you're using double-sided papers, the middle two, you will only see the inside of them, and I'll show you that in a second. But if you have ones that you're not crazy about the back side of them, that's where you want to put it, in the middle two. If you don't care, or if your paper's like mine where it's plain, then you don't have any issues with that. But if you want to have your papers so that you have your pretty ones showing on both sides, that would be the first page and the last page. Hopefully that made a little bit of sense. Sometimes when I glue, I can't think. I don't know what that's all about, but all of a sudden my brain wasn't working while I was gluing. I'm making sure everything's well adhered to its neighbor. Okay, so here's what your album's going to look like. Here's your first page open, and here's your second page open, your third, and your fourth. Now, I have this one, the right side, needs to be moved a little if I can. It's not looking good. See how I didn't line it up perfectly right there? It looked like it was lined up, but it wasn't. Not a big deal because we can cover that with different adhesive, or yeah, different pattern papers, things like that. Okay, then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to want to glue your edges shut, because we want to make these into pockets. So I'm just going to put a little glue. It's easier if you put the glue on this part. You just want to put a thin line of glue right on the outer edge on both sides. I don't know if this side's in camera, but I'm just putting a little bit of glue in the same spot on both sides, and you want to really rub it down so that you can make sure that stays well adhered. If you're not sure if your glue is going to hold, I'd recommend you get these little craft clips. Woo! That I got from one of my viewers. Thank you. Sherry that sent me those. Okay. Then we'll go on to, oops, I'm doing the wrong side. Told you to do it one way and then I did it another. And you only want it to be on the very edge of your cardstock. We're going to glue that up. And I'm going to glue those two pages together now that I've done that. Now I have both sides that I can pinch like that. And there's this one, and then what I'll do on this one is once I get this side done, we'll just move our little clip. I forgot to put a clip on the other side for some reason. Okay, then I can move that clip right there, making sure it's well adhered. And this one on that side, and then last but not least, our last page. Now I picked plain paper because my Halloween paper that I have that's pretty, that is two-sided, and by two-sided, I'll show you what I mean. I have this graphic 45 paper that's Rare Oddities, but it is 8 by 8. So I can't use it on an album that's 12 by 12, obviously. So I decided I would use just plain paper and then really decorate it well with my Rare Oddities paper. Now the paper that Kelly sent me is beautiful paper, but it's only one-sided, so I would have two of my pages that would have a white inside, and I thought it was too stark and I didn't want to have to color it or mess with it, so that's why I went with the paper that I am using. Making sure my pieces are all well adhered. Let me make sure. So then we have 4 pockets. See that? And then the outside is pretty. So the next thing we're going to do, I made sure that my binding was really squeezed together and well glued, and then I let it set for a couple of minutes, and then I'm just going to take all my binder clips off. Then you're going to cut a piece of paper that's going to be 9 inches long by, it depends on how thick your paper is. My paper is thicker than I normally use, so I'm going to make mine thicker. So you can have it as thin as 1 inch wide, or mine is 1.5 inches wide, so it's up to you what, really what you determine you want your binding to look like as far as width. So I'm going to turn it sideways, and I'm going to kind of plop it in the center of my binding, hopefully. Then what you want to do is you want to pick it up and very, very gently, you're going to fold it. Sorry, I have to do a little bit of this off screen. So basically all I did is I kept folding it with my fingers and squeezing it. Fold and squeeze, fold and squeeze. And you really want to make sure then that your top is as flat as it can get. You can put it on your table and push down on it too. It's important that this really adhere well. And that is going to hold it so that our book looks right, our album book. It's an album and a book. Then I finished all of my little papers, so I'm going to stick them inside. Those will hold a card. No, they won't hold a card. I'm making things up now. These will hold one 4x6 photo each. And then you want to have, if you want to, you can have something like, let's say, journaling spots where you could write information down below, if that's what you'd like. It really depends on what you want for this. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Mine is going to be relatively simple. See how that did not stick all the way as much as I wanted it to. Come on, buddy. I'm going to put a clip on either end of that and see if I can get it to stay attached until it sets up. Let me put one on the other in the middle too. Next up, let's do a little bit of decorating on the front. I had cut this out of my graphic 45 paper, and this is from a stack called Rare Oddities. They no longer make it, but I really liked it and thought it would be great for this project. And I thought maybe Ghostly Greetings at the top would be fun. And so what we're going to do, I put some tear tape on the back of this piece on the outer edges, and then I thought I would just put some wet glue or glue stick on the inner part of that, just so we can have it so it's ready to stick down. And I'm not crazy about using wet glue on paper. I don't have good luck with it. It always seems to get waffly on me. So that's why I kind of like using tear tape. If you've seen many of my big projects like this, you know that tear tape is my go-to adhesive of choice. I'm going to stick this, I think, right like that. I did round the corners of this with my corner rounder. I could have put backing of it of black. That might have looked really nice, but I didn't do it. So we don't get excited about it because we didn't do it. And then what I did was I took a bunch of the different things that came with this set of Rare Oddities, and I made it so that they already have adhesive on the back, so we can, I think those are probably set up now, hopefully. I don't really want to leave dents in it if I can avoid it. So I'm going to put some tear tape on the back of this one. I think I have some pearls, and I think what I'm going to do with the pearls is they're sticky on the back, and they're from Stampin' Up, so they'll stay adhered to the front of this. But I wanted to, instead of doing a brad or something that I'd have to hide the ends with, I thought it would be better to use the pearls, and I can color those with my Copics, not Copics, my alcohol markers. Let me grab those pearls and I'll be right back. So I have these two little pearls. Hopefully you can see them right there. I'm going to take them off. Okay, so let me just take the backing off these. I'm going to just glue it in place. I think it'd be easier for me to do this if I just put them down where I want them. Stampin' Up! Is having a big clearance sale right now, and these pearls were one of the things that are on clearance, and I really like them. So I bought myself a pad, and then I bought some black metallic thread that was on clearance, and some cool paper that you color. I don't know the name of it right offhand, but I'll show you that real quick. Here's what it looks like. It's got all kinds of different patterns, and you color it, and then you can make cards out of it, and I really liked it. It's got feathers, just got a bunch of really neat patterns, and they're 12 by 12 paper, so you can make albums out of it if you wanted to. Let me tell you what it's called, because I do have the information right here. It's called Just Add Color is the name of that, and it's item number 144180. The metallic black thread is 141695, and the pearl embellishments are 138394, and they come in 3 different sizes. I just thought I'd tell you that in case you're interested in any of those, because like I said, they're discontinuing them and they're having really good deals on them now, so now's the time to look for them if you want some. I think I like this color better. Just make our pearl orange. There you go. If you don't like the way your pearl looks, all you have to do is take a little bit of rubbing alcohol and wipe on it with a little micro brush or some kind of Q-tip, and it should take that coloring back off, so you aren't going to be stuck with it and hate it forever and blame me for the ugliness that you've created. Because, you know, that's how I roll. I like to make sure we clean it off if we can. Okay, now let's see if I want to use any more of these on the front. I kind of like this Witch's Brew but I didn't know where to put it that I would like it. And then there's this great big, frightfully sweet. I don't know where to put that. I don't know where to put anything. So what I'm going to do instead, I think I'm going to put some of these things in the inside, but I also have the papers that I trimmed out, and I really like these. So what I want to do with these is I'm just going to make a little mark on it. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to line that up with my book, and I'm going to put a little mark at the top and the bottom so we know exactly where to cut. You don't want it to go into the seam, because if it goes into the seam, you're going to have a really hard time folding your book. Let me cut these two, put the stickers on them, the tear tape on them, and then I'll come right back and we'll go on to the next page. So we're going to put our decorations in the inside. I did put these 3 little cardboard buttons that came with the set on that front page. Then I'm going to do on the inside here, I think I'm going to put some of these. I already put tear tape on them, and now I'm just adding a little bit of glue stick, I guess is what you call it. Geez, I completely forgot the name of it. I'm going to leave the middle open where the binding is. Right there. I'm going to leave that open because I don't want it to make it so my book doesn't open and close, if you get my drift. This one is, I think it says you're charmed or something about being charmed. I put it up here, I guess. I kind of like this because I'm decorating it, instead of using decorated paper, I'm using all these other pieces to decorate it, and I like that. I think it has a lot of, I don't know, something. It adds something to it. This one is all orange. Okay, then our last ones are going to be different because I didn't find 2 that worked well together. I liked this one. It's kind of cool. Putting it down right there. Now, so that's what they look like on the inside. And then I have a bunch of really fun additions I'm going to put on these. I have some of these tags that we can put here that they could write on, and I just have a bunch of things like that. So let me take the tear tape off the back of those and I'll be right back. So I'm ready with my decorations. I have all of these, they're kind of like a journaling spot, and I thought it would be nice to have one of those on each page. I guess I'm going to use my glue stick. I have better luck with that today than anything else. Well, now it's glued to me. That's what I was hoping for. I figure if I put one of these on each page, then they would be able to, then whoever gets this will be able to write whatever they, whatever they are thinking about on that page. Okay. This one matches this page a little bit better, I think. Then, if I had $1 for every one of these that was attached to me, I'd be making some cash. Whoops. Oh boy. A little bit of my tear tape sticking out from under. I don't like that. And then my last one. Oh, it's all kind of stuck together. I glued these things to the back. I thought they kind of looked cute. Then I have a weird allotment of miscellaneous items that we can stick here and there. That one right there. And that one right there. I had quite a few of these little accessories, and I like them. I think they're a lot of fun. That one I'll put right there. I finished decorating it. I think the last thing I glued in without, oh, that doesn't go there, without anybody looking at it. So there's my cover. And then here's our first 2 pages. I put journaling spots on both sides and then a little decoration at the top of each. And then I rounded the corners on our card. Then on this page, same journaling, little teeny tiny journaling spot, but little accessories at the top. On this page, little journaling spots and then more of those. And then again, little journaling spots. This one I cut out of the paper. It's not, the rest of them were actual ephemera that I got. That's a big word, and it's real. Don't think I didn't make that up. I didn't make that up. I thought I was going to, but I didn't. Anyway, and I glued these 3 things to the back. I hope you enjoyed this. It's an easy way to make an album. It's a fast album. If you start with basic paper like this and you glue things together, I really think that it'll be an easy project for you to make. I hope you give this a thumbs up and subscribe. Please tell your friends about me on social media because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.